Hello and welcome to another Xterra video where I work on my truck. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. And on today's cold winter day, luckily I'm not gonna be working outside. Not really outside, I'm gonna be working inside in a garage, even though it's not really heated, but that's beside the point. So we are coming back to work on my front differential for my M205. I'm gonna try to take it apart and I'm gonna start preparing to install the front locker. So let's see how that's gonna work out. Alright, so first things first, I need to actually drain the fluid from the inside. It's still full of fluid. I believe it's full of fluid. So gonna drain the fluid and then I'm gonna work on removing these bolts. Just gotta keep in mind that one of these bolts on the back over there is longer, so whenever you put everything back, make sure that you know that one is longer. So gonna drain the fluid and then we're gonna take the cover off. Alright, so after fighting with the covers for some time, trying to break the seal without breaking anything, I finally got it. So let's open this up and let's see what's inside. Okay, so here's our dirty looking differential. So now I'm gonna try to clean this all up completely and yeah, gonna start measuring the backlash first and then gonna start taking all of this apart. So now I'm trying to determine my initial backlash on this differential so I can set it up something the same when I put it all together by holding the back shaft over here and moving the ring back and forth. So I have 4 to -1 backlash play. I think that's pretty good. I hope I took my measurements correct from this side. I checked a few videos. I think you have to do it on a drive side, and I think this is the one. Gonna write these numbers down, gonna remember those numbers, and gonna start disassembling all of this. And as you can see, I just put this metal piece of plate over here, so I was able to put a magnet here, no problems. But now let's start working our way and start taking everything apart. Now, when you're removing these two parts, make sure that you remember that this part goes on this side and this part goes on this side. I think it's important. So now I'm gonna pry these stubs out, take them out. There's a security screw here and here. Gonna clean this out. Just gonna try to pry these both sides out, the stubs, and they should come out somewhat easy. All right, and this is out. Alright, and the second side is out. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna work on removing this seal, which I'm gonna replace anyways. I have my two brand new seals over here, so that's where we're gonna use it. But this seal we have to remove regardless, because we have to get to that huge nut over there. And for that we're gonna need to use this 46mm socket. Hopefully it's gonna go inside there. And that's it. The seal is out. Now, of course, this seal is old. I'm gonna replace it, but if yours are not old, carefully tap it out and it's gonna come out. But I would recommend just replacing it anyways. So now with the 13mm, we're gonna remove these two retaining brackets. Now they sit really tight, so I had to use a breaker bar. I don't know, maybe there's a thread locker inside. And the brackets are out. The 4mm hex key, these two, there is a 2 security screws that we have to loosen up. That's exactly what I'm gonna do now. Make sure it's all the way in. and just loosen it up. You can actually see it over here how it drives in and out, so just give it a few twists. Okay. Now we gotta take this big socket and we have to undo this bolt, and hopefully it's, yeah, perfect. I was worried it's not gonna go inside there, it might be too fat or something, but it's good. Let's set it inside and let's unbolt this. And that was pretty easy. That was not even tight in there. All right, and now, if I'm not mistaken, we can take this whole part out. All right, and this is out. Whew. And this is out. Nice. So now I can clean this better and gonna prep it to drill for the hole to pass the wires over here. So this almost is clean. So my next step, I need to take these old bolts out to remove the ring, and all the old parts are pretty much garbage. And I can start working on drilling this hole over here for the wires and start assembling the new axle. The ring gear is out. Once all the bolts are out, you just tap it a little bit and it's gonna come off easy. But just wanted to show you here, as you can see, this is my gear ratio on this ring. It's 47/14. So if you divide 47 by 14, you are getting 3.36 gear ratio. So that way I know for sure that I have a right gear ratio. Alright guys, so let's open up the box. Let's see what's inside. So as always, we got the stickers, and that's very important. You always know that stickers, they add 5 horsepower. Then we have the instruction over here. That's also very important. I think this time I'm actually gonna read this instruction to see how you're supposed to assemble this. Nice. We got a brochure over here with all the products and stuff. That looks very nice. Now in this box we have our switches. They provide you with a switch for the front or rear locker, wherever you're gonna install this. Comes with a nice looking wiring harness. I'm actually probably gonna use this wiring harness. Some zip ties, a plug for the wiring harness, and this is pretty important. Once we drill a hole in here, we're gonna use this to pass our wires through. Take this out. Oh, nice, they provide me with a soft shackle, a free soft shackle. That's pretty cool. And of course over here, here's our locker itself. And there we go guys, this is our electrical locker. Pretty happy, pretty excited about that. So now we can start working and start assembling everything back together. There is a little retaining clip we have to take out over there, so we can remove this. That way we can slide our ring over here. Before assembling, gotta make sure that you try all of these holes. Make sure that the bolts go through all of them without issues. And as you can see, I have no issues over here. I saw in a video that one of these holes had to be enlarged, I think. But looks like we have no issues so far. So now of course this ring is not gonna slide over here just like that because of this retaining. We have to take out this retaining clip over there, and that way we can take this out. So let's do that. Then we can slide this whole assembly out. So let's try to do that without breaking anything. So with just small screwdriver, carefully work your way around, and this clip comes out. There we go, and this is out. Set it on the side. Let's lift this up carefully, put it on the side. Alright, so now let's line up our ring with the holes over there, and just gonna put a couple of bolts in place just to hold this even, and then I'm gonna work on putting this bracket back over here and sliding this back in place as well. Alright, and it's in place. Nice. So the next two steps are critical. I have to put all the bolts in place, clean them, put a thread locker and tighten them up to 107 foot-pound of torque. And I also need to drive over here a new bearing. So that's something I have to do. I'm gonna drill this hole over here. We need to make a hole using these drill bits that I picked up online. I think they're 10.5 millimeters, and then we have to also pick up these top pins because I didn't have them and make a threads. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start making a hole with a smaller drill bits, sharper drill bits, because I heard some people say these drill bits are not as sharp. So gonna make a hole through it first with like a pilot hole, and then enlarge it, finishing up with this drill bit, and then gonna start threading the threads. Yeah. Alright guys, let's hope it's all gonna work out. Alright, so I made a hole with a 5/16 bit, and now I'm gonna do the one with for the 10 millimeter. Alright, and it's through. And because it's aluminum, it's pretty easy to drill. So the next step is to tap in the threads over here. First we're gonna start with this one, the one that looks like it has less threads, and then this is gonna be the finished one. Of course, this is the one that's gonna go inside here. Once I put in the threads, I think I'm gonna try to make this more flat, because there is a gasket over here. That way, when it's screwed in, it's gonna be sit tight. I'm probably still gonna put a Teflon tape around here, maybe not. But with this rubber gasket, I don't think that's necessary. But now, carefully, let's try to make these threads in here. I mean, this is aluminum, it should go easy. Just gotta make sure you hold it straight, you hold it even. So little by little gonna work on that, making a threads in here, make sure it works. Just gonna take my time. Alright, I think this is done. Now let's see if this is gonna get screwed in. Yep, it works. Like I said, I'm still gonna put thread locker over here because it feels a little bit too loose. But I bought what was specified, but I think it's gonna be all right. So now I'm gonna clean this edge up, make sure it's flush, and this part is done. So I went to a couple of mechanic shops near me, and one of them, they actually have a shop press and they allowed me to use it. So now I'm gonna try to press these bearings in, so wish me luck. I'm not gonna be able to record and do it at the same time, and I don't want to take too much time, so let me try to press it in and we'll see how that works. Alright, one side is almost in, just gonna put a spacer over there to drive it deeper, and then gonna do the second side. Alright guys, the bearings are pressed. Luckily I was able to find it, and luckily they let me use it. So as a tip, just check around your local shops, maybe they will let you use it if you guys doing the same. So now I'm gonna go back to the house, gonna start working on installing this locker inside my differential. So now with a blue thread locker, I cleaned all the bolts, by the way, with a brake cleaner. I'm gonna torque them all crisscross pattern with a 21mm socket to 107 foot-pound of torque. So gonna work on that, torque them all up, and that part is done.
A few moments later.
Alright guys, so after all some struggling, getting this thing tight in a press, not to spin, I tightened up all the bolts to 108 to 107 foot-pound of torque, and as each bolt I was torquing, I was marking it, so I knew that one is done. So now finally this is done. So now the next step will be I need to shave off this a little bit, maybe 1/8 of the inch, maybe more, maybe less, but I'm gonna start by little, because this, once this is in place, as you can see, it slightly interferes with this bracket. So we need to shave off this on one side on the top. So that's what I'm gonna do. Gonna shave it off. And because this is aluminum, it's very soft, I'm probably just gonna do it by hand. You can do it with a machine, but this should be sufficient. So I'm gonna work on that, shaving this off, gonna put this inside there, work with it, make sure that it fits properly, and then we can start making all the adjustments. Now to do the adjustments on this side, actually what I did, I just gathered a bunch of metal that I had, trying to get the appropriate size. So basically what it is, like 1.5 inches. So I just put them together, pushed it inside, and that's gonna be just enough for me to twist when I loosen this up. That's gonna be enough for me to twist back and forth to do all the adjustments. So now I'm gonna start putting this all inside, putting the sides in, make sure that they don't interfere. Maybe I have to shave off this a little more, maybe not, we'll see. So now I'm trying to set up my backlash, and in order to do that, these two brackets, they're supposed to be just snug, not tight at all. So just basically tighten it by hand, and then just make sure it's just a little bit tight. That's it, because that needs to move inside there. Then make sure that these two 4mm hex key are loose, and then basically it's a long game of loosening up one side, tightening up another one. So what happens as you tighten this one and this one is loose, the whole assembly is gonna move in, so that's gonna lower the backlash. And if you need to make a backlash bigger, you have to tighten up this side and loosen up this side. That's gonna move the whole thing out, and it's gonna create more backlash. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. So right now I don't have the right backlash yet, so I'm still working on it, but that's an idea. So hopefully next time when you guys see this, the backlash is gonna be already all set up.
2,000 years later.
So after much more adjustments, I think I got it back to 5/1000 of an inch backlash, and I tried to move this already multiple times to test it on multiple locations basically. So not only here, but on the other side and the other side. So make sure it's all, just to make sure it turns a few times and I still get the same number. So I am getting 5/1000 of an inch backlash. So I think that's all good. So now with the marking compound, I'm gonna actually put maybe on 3 ribs over here, and we're gonna see what kind of contact it makes over there. So hopefully that's gonna be all good as well, and we can just clean it up one more time and proceed with assembling. Probably put it too much. You don't want to put too much, because if you put too much, you're not gonna be able to see if it's making contact or not. So I'm gonna clear some of it out and gonna test it. Right, so now I'm just gonna spin it, and hopefully it's all good. We're gonna go back and forth to there multiple times, and I cannot see anything here. I think I put too much of a compound. So gonna clear it up. So the backlash is set. I checked the pattern. I mean, I did not do any work on the pinion, so whatever I did should not affect it anyways, but the pattern is okay. So now before doing anything else, I'm actually gonna test the magnetic lacquer, make sure it engages, make sure it works. Just gonna use a 12-volt battery. Gonna connect the black wire to the negative, and the white wire is our positive. So once I connect that, I heard it clicked, it's engaging, and release, and it disengages. Nice. So now I'm actually gonna pull out all the bolts one by one, and I'm gonna use a blue thread locker on them, drive them all in again, torque them all again to 38 foot-pound of torque, double check the measurements again, make sure everything is still fine, which shouldn't change at this point anyways. And this part is pretty much done. Then I can start working on putting the connector over here and getting my wires through. So first I'm gonna make all the bolts snag. Okay. Tie them up by hand, by feel. And now I'm gonna torque them all to 38 foot-pound of torque. Alright, and this is done. So now I'm gonna be working on installing this over here. It says to use Teflon tape, but one of my friends, he actually used a gasket maker that you put around here. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think it's gonna be probably even better. So I'm gonna put some amount over here and just drive it in here. And everything is almost done, guys. So what I'm gonna do now is just few little things. I'm gonna clean it inside one more time with a brake cleaner. I'm gonna clean over here, even though I already did, and I'm gonna put the new seals in. And actually to put the seals, I've been using this. This is a 2-inch EMT pipe conduit connector, and it goes right there pretty good. And with that, I can hammer this in nice and easy. So I'm gonna put a grease over here so it goes better. Once everything is clean, I'm gonna wipe this all off one more time, make sure this is clean. I'm gonna apply some RTV, a nice bit of RTV over here, close it all up, put the side shafts in, and the axle is ready to be installed. And after that, I'm gonna be just working on wiring for my switch. I'm not gonna record that because it's pretty easy. You just get a wire from wherever you're gonna install your switch to the locker and interconnect it. I might just show where I install my switch, and that's about it. I don't want the video to be too long anyways. So hopefully next time when you see, guys, this locker, it's gonna be all assembled and ready to be installed. Alright, so this is applied. So now I'm just gonna finger tight the cover, allow it to sit it for 90 minutes, and then I'm gonna torque all the bolts to spec. Alright, guys, finally the M205 with the locker is all assembled back. Everything is torqued back to spec, everything is installed, everything looks good. So the next step, like I said, I'm just gonna take some time and install it in my truck. Not gonna record that. I have like already a few videos of that and it's very easy. And then I'm just gonna wire it up. I'm probably just gonna show just a actual interconnection, but not running of the wiring, because that's pretty simple and you just do best you can do. But yeah, very happy that finally it's coming to the end. Alright, guys, so now I'm gonna work off camera for some time. Gonna be installing my custom switch from my front locker, because it's a dual action switch the way I wired up, so it requires both of the buttons to be pressed in order to switch to work. I don't want it accidentally to be engaged. And I'm gonna be working on running this wire that it came with a locker, which has a very long lead that goes to the locker. So I'm gonna get that through the firewall to my switch panel, to my fuses, and just wire it all up. And that's where I'm gonna install it, next to that switch. So I'm gonna spend some time wire it all up, and then I'm gonna show you when it's all done. Alright, so just a small update just to keep you guys in the loop. This is a 2-wire coming from the front locker. I got them through the firewall, so one wire is gonna go to the ground over here. Now these 3 wires over here are these 3 wires that I extended, which gonna go to my switch. So the green wire is gonna be my continue wire for the locker to engage. The blue and the yellow is gonna be going to the positive, and the black one is gonna be to the negative. So that's what's gonna be happening here. The green one is gonna be spliced into my red coming from the locker. The black one is gonna be together with this black wire going to the ground, and the red one is gonna go over here for the last spot for the fuse, and that's it. All right guys, and it's all done. Both switches are installed. As you can see, I moved this switch over so these two switches are together. I think it's better that way, looks better. And I tested it only when both of them switches are on. Only then I'm getting the voltage over here. Alright guys, today is the day I'm gonna be swapping my new to me M205 with the locker that I just installed, so hopefully everything is gonna be alright over there. So now I'm gonna spend some time disassembling everything. I'm not gonna record that because I have few videos on that. I'm just gonna probably add that, but basically gotta remove the tires, disassemble the front suspension, remove my skid plates, remove the crossbar, drop the differential down and install the new one. I have my CV axles over here ready as well. Now for the gear oil, I'm actually gonna run 7540. It's a little bit heavier gear. Some of my friends using that in the front differential, and I think it's kind of even better. So gonna take some time. Not sure how long it's gonna take me to replace it, but a few hours I guess, maybe 5-6 or so, and then we're gonna test it. Hopefully everything's gonna work out good. All right guys, just a small update. I'm still alive. I pulled the front differential out, the R180, so now I can work. I'm putting that one in and start assembling everything all over again. So much fun. All right guys, just ignore the mess. I'm still finishing up replacing it, but I think everything is installed and I have connected it. So if I spin the tires now, as you can see, the locker is not engaged, that tire is not spinning. But now if I engage my front locker, I have to press both buttons. Both of them are white, so now hopefully it's engaged. And you can see guys, it just engaged. Nice, I hope you guys can see it. So now if I disengage both of them and I spin the tire again, as you can see, it disengaged. Amazing, it even works guys, it even works. Nice. All right, now I'm just gonna finish it up and then gonna take it for a little drive, make sure nothing is banging anywhere, there's no extra noise or anything, and then we gonna test it out on the trail.